Alright, one thing before we start the video, I just want to say I did start an Instagram. I've never had any social media ever, but I was like, you know what, I'll make an Instagram, whatever. I'll just follow cool truck pages and stuff like that. So I do have an Instagram. I'm gonna, put my name down below if you want to check it out. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with it. Probably just post really car stuff, maybe some stuff that goes on in my life, whatever. But for the most part, it's probably just gonna be Jeep pictures of the Jeep, my truck, the Crown Vic. So just nothing too special. I figured I'd put it out there if you want to follow me on Instagram, even though I'm not really doing that much on there. I'm sure, I'm on there. So just, one way I can maybe connect with you guys if you want to do that. But that's it. Let's get into the video. Alright, what is going on, guys? I want to discuss today, if you're looking at buying a pickup truck, should you go the diesel option, which I have, this is a 7.3 truck, or you should go, the gas option. Now, these came with 3 motor options, I believe. One being the 5.4 liter, which I believe was the standard base model motor. Not base model, but this, standard motor. An upgrade you could get is the whatever liter, I don't remember, V10. So you could get a 10-cylinder in these, or you got the top motor you could get, which is the Power Stroke. Once again, this is the 7.3. So those are the 3 options that I am aware of that are available in these trucks. Now I'm sure, as most of you guys know, I have a Crown Vic over there, which has the 4.6 liter. Which is very, very similar to the 5.4. The 5.4 is just slightly bigger bores. There may be a few internal components that are different, but it is essentially, they're almost essentially the same exact motor. The 4.6 and the 5.4 are very, very similar. So it's not going to be a direct, apples to apples comparison because, I don't have a 5.4, gas truck. I have a 4.6 Crown Vic, but the motors are very similar, so I can kind of give you some type of, idea of what costs are for both. Now, I'll get right off the bat. If you're looking at these, you already know. Sorry for the wind. I really gotta think about something like to upgrade the block out the wind. But if you're looking at these type of trucks, I'm also going to be talking about like the Super Duty styles. I'm not even going to talk about the old like OBS styles, like the 95, 97s and stuff. I'm talking about these. I'm talking about these. It's generally going to be the same for, really any truck, I'd say, for the most part, especially with Fords. Dodge may be different, whatever. But if you are looking for one of these trucks, right off the bat, the first thing you're going to see is the diesels are a lot more expensive. Let's say you find 2 trucks, they both have 100,000 miles. I mean, they are like the exact spec trucks. They're both Lariats, they're both exactly the same. And one has a diesel and the other one has, the 5.4 gas. There is going to be a big price discrepancy. The diesel, I mean, 100,000 mile diesel, one of these, it could be, a $15,000 truck, maybe even a little bit more. As a gas equivalent, same exact everything, would only be maybe $7,000, probably even less than that. So you're talking, quite a bit more money just to get into the truck to begin with, compared to the 5.4 gas in these. Now, one benefit to that is they do hold their value a lot better, which is good. So, if you want to keep it long term, it will kind of help you in that aspect. But we'll get back to that in a second. Another thing when you get into these, you're gonna find generally diesels are gonna get worked a lot harder than a gas truck. So when you're looking at these, it's going to be a little bit more difficult trying to find one that is not completely beat up and hasn't been like worked hard its entire life. I got lucky getting mine. Mine wasn't really worked, really at all. It was owned by an older gentleman. I've never had a fifth wheel in here. He took pretty decent care of the truck, I'd say. it doesn't really have any, real problems, a few things here and there. So I got lucky with mine. It wasn't really worked real hard. But a lot of times with the diesels, you're going to find that they've been worked to death. So in that aspect, sometimes you're going to be better off getting a gasser because they're not worked as hard. Some people just get gas trucks. That way they can just, haul things around, little things. They like having the fact that there's a bed, so they got to move stuff around. They can, they tow an occasional small boat or something. So generally gas trucks aren't as beat up as diesels. Another thing to think about when you're looking at these trucks is maintenance cost. And this is really what I'm really coming down to. This is going to be the final thing really in this video, is the maintenance cost on these trucks. Diesels are a lot more money to maintain than a gas motor. I've been driving both. Like I said, I had the Crown Vic. I generally daily drive that. There's times where I daily drive this. I'll drive this for like 3-4 days. I'll drive the Crown Vic for 3-4 days. So I've been going back and forth, kind of going through the costs and stuff, just seeing what it's like. The Crown Vic 100% is cheaper to run in just about every single category. Now granted, this is a lot larger, and if you get the gas equivalent in this, it's going to cost more than my Crown Vic would too, because it's a big full-size truck. But the overall cost with maintenance is going to be a lot more on a diesel. You have to change the fuel filter. Good rule of thumb is every 10,000 miles. You're going to go through tires more. Generally, the tires are more expensive and they don't last as long. Fuel is more expensive. With everything going on right now, gas has really gone down. I mean, I've seen gas as cheap as $1.95. I've seen gas literally in the dollars, which the last time I saw gas for $1 I was like a little kid. I mean, I probably was like 7 years old or something, 6 years old. But I do remember a point in my life when gas was like super cheap. It was like $1.80, whatever it was. But gas has really gone down. I think right now, like I said, it's like $1.99, $1.95. It's really cheap. As diesel right now has not really gone down at all. It's maybe gone down by 20 cents. So instead of being like $3 a gallon, it's like $2.80, $2.85. So diesel hasn't really gone down all that much. Now, my theory on that is because, I don't know, our country really runs on diesel. You have big semi-trucks, you have trains, buses, even though a lot of buses are propane. But generally, a lot of vehicles, that keep our country running and moving is run on diesel. So the cost of that, they're going to keep the prices up because they know they can get the money out of people, regardless of everything going on, because, they're essential vehicles. They need to be out on the road. Gas, that's my theory. I feel like they've lowered the price of gas to try to get people to just, kind of get out, maybe drive a little bit. I may be completely wrong. That's how I feel about it. But the point is, regardless of why the price differences are the way they are, is the fact that diesel is still almost the same exact price and gas has gone way down. Now this truck gets right around, I've been averaging like 14 to 16, maybe 17 miles per gallon. I don't think I've hit 17 yet, so I'm going to say probably around like 14 to 16 mpg this truck is averaging. My Crown Vic gets around 16 to 17 mpg. I'm sure I could get more if I did more highway driving, but the driving that I do, I get around 16 mpg. So it's almost right around the same as the truck, but the gas is a lot cheaper. Now, with the gas motor in these, the Argon, you're not going to get that great a gas mileage. You're probably looking somewhere right around, I don't know, 10 miles per gallon or something like that. So you are going to get less MPG than you would with the diesel, but you have to think you're paying a lot less for gas. If it's $1 cheaper almost, later. If it's 80 cents cheaper per gallon compared to a diesel, it's still going to be, almost equal. It's almost going to equal out. If not, it may be a little bit cheaper compared to diesel. But also with these two, it's really good to run additives in these. You have oil additives, fuel additives, which is all another cost. It's a lot more money for oil. So by the time you're done factoring in, you know, every single other cost, they're a lot more expensive. So even if you get less gas mileage with a gas motor, it's still going to be right around the same exact price to run one of these. I don't know. For me, just driving it and just overall experience so far with the truck, I would say the only reason why someone would need a diesel truck is really to haul. That's really about it. Yeah, they're super reliable. You know, they will last longer generally than a gas equivalent. You know, a 7.3, they can go 500,000 miles pretty easily. You know, a few things here and there is going to go bad, you got to fix. But, you know, getting 500,000 miles out of a 5.4, it's going to be more difficult. You know what I mean? That's just the reality. They do last longer. They're generally more reliable, but they're also a lot more expensive. And the cost of keeping it, you know, running as reliably for that long, the cost doesn't add up. And then especially where you live, there's going to be different factors. You know, sure, your motor may last 500,000 miles, you know, 1,000,000 miles, or 7.3s that have 1,000,000 miles on them. But is the truck going to last that long? You know, where do you live? If you live in the salt belt, it's going to rot out. You know, you're going to go through transmissions. You're going to have to be paying for those. You know, there's a lot of other factors. You have suspension. There's a lot of things that you're going to be doing, keeping your truck alive, but your motor's perfectly fine. So when it comes down to it, you know, generally gas is the cheaper way to go, and that's what I've seen. You know, owning both gas and diesel. Overall, owning a gas is just going to be much cheaper. Now, granted, I don't think they're as fun. I have tons of fun owning this truck. I've always wanted a diesel. I love the way they sound. I love the feel, the power. You know, if you need something that like has a good amount of power, and you know, like I said, if you're pulling heavy stuff, yes, you want the diesel. But if you're just a regular, you know, guy like me, driving back and forth to work, just, you know, living life, whatever, you don't really need a diesel. And that also works for the new trucks too. You know, the new gas trucks, they have so much power now and everything else. You know, you don't need all that. Now, I'm not saying to stay away from a diesel. They're great. I absolutely love my truck. I would buy it again, you know. So I'm not necessarily saying to stay away from one, but if you're trying to like crunch numbers and you really need a truck and you can't figure out if you need a gas or a diesel, you know, going the gas route may be a better option for you. You know, they just overall seem to be cheaper to run. You know, that's just my experience with my Crown Vic. You know, like I mentioned before earlier, the motor is essentially the same as I think as a 5.4. I know it's going to obviously be different numbers, but the overall maintenance cost, if I were just to compare maintenance costs, the Crown Vic is definitely cheaper to maintain compared to the diesel. So that's pretty much it. Just want to give you guys a quick video here. You know, it's something, if you are looking at getting a truck, you know, what would be the better option for you? You know, that's just my take on it. You know, let me know what you guys think. I'm sure there are going to be different opinions, but I don't know. That's just how it seems to be for me, at least in my situation. You know, so for someone else, you know, a diesel may be the better option for you. But that's pretty much it. Nothing else to say. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I don't know if you guys can see the sun out there, but it was literally downpouring all day today, and then within the last like hour or so, right before the sun goes down, it's like beautiful out. But all right, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.